Content over everything.
I think a big reason for that is that we came from a place where we grew our own fruit and veg, and then we came here and we just assumed all this stuff in the supermarket was healthy, when really and truly it's just full of cancer-causing chemicals.
Yeah, and I think a lot to do with our people. Like, they go back home, a lot of our elders, and what they find is the sun over there. With vitamin D deficiency, number one. Number two as well, the amount of sweating you do when you're back home, because our food is rich in ghee, number one, and sugar. Like our sweets, I don't know if you know about halwa, it's pure sugar. It's made out of pure sugar. It's just sugar that's been cooked, basically, yeah. And most of our dishes, meat dishes, rice dishes, are cooked with clarified butter, which is ghee. Which when our older generation come here and they're eating clarified butter, but they're not walking around in the market sweating up, blah, 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 you know, probably in a housing association or housing estate where they don't leave their house unless it's a school run or shopping day. Do you know what I mean? So these kind of things, yeah, we do need to deal with them. And I think it starts with the women. Women are, I believe, are the main teachers at home. And I think if you educate one woman, you educate a whole generation. You understand? So I think a lot to do with Somali people's health is got to do with our mothers. Our mothers need to learn about clarified butter, and they need to learn about the fact that we can't have the same diet as we had in the sun over there as we had here. You understand? Some of them are learning, but I think it's the little comforts that they have as well. So they need to understand how dangerous it is, because they still don't understand the connection between these illnesses and these foods. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I know the younger generation want to help, but really and truly, there's not a lot of younger generation that cook for themselves. The people that are cooking for the younger generation are the mothers and the sisters and the aunties or whatever then. Do you know what I mean? So if there's any women that are listening out there, I mean, there are already fitness groups like, nutrition. There was, I think, something that was being done about nutrition with the Somalian women, I think in our local communities and stuff. But I think it's something that is going to take time. Do you know what I mean? Because this is obviously embedded in our culture to eat these foods. And that is a sort of identifying as well. You know, when you eat your own cultural foods, it's a way of retaining your identity. And that's how the Polish do it now. As soon as they come here, they open up their own Polish shops. And I big them up because that's the way of them keeping their identity. All of their people go to the shops and they meet up, and they have a support system there from their community. Do you know what I mean? Food is a way of connecting as well.
And do you guys have a way to connect with other Somali communities, like any kind of tangible way, whether it's a social network or
absolutely.
A club?
But I think that's it's different with a different generation. So like with our parents' generation, like you see the way my mom uses WhatsApp, for example, and the way she keeps in touch with Somali women all over the globe, it's amazing, isn't it? But the youth don't do that. Like the youth walk past each other and they screw face each other. It's mad. Like, it's just mad. So like for me, I think we just need to go back to what we've always been doing, innit? Like it's in our nature to be traders, for example, merchants. That's what we've been doing for thousands of years. Like we are logistics, innit? Like walking, talking logistics, and it's in you, it's in all of us, but it's just dormant. And we just need to go back to it.
But I think the reason why it's dormant is because we need to adapt to this new environment.
I don't think we need to adapt. I think we need to go back.
Look, for example, I'll give you an example, my brother, what I mean by adapt, yeah? I'm talking about the foods now, okay? All Somali shops, say we go to the Somali shop, yeah? They sell the same dolce, they sell the same halwa, and that is where our mothers are shopping their food. If we were, for example, to educate them shop owners then, and say that you need to stop selling these sugar full stuff because they're not in Somalia anymore, where when you walk from your house to the neighbors, you've already bust so much sweat that you've already, whatever sugar you've taken is gone. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Whereas this weather, you don't sweat. And our parents, our sort of older generation, don't travel as much because of the language barrier, because there's not a lot for them to do, and stuff like that. So all of these things, I'm not saying we need to change ourselves, but I'm saying adaptation, like because of the weather. So, like Somali, they say we're jirjirol, you know what I mean? We're chameleons. Wherever you go, we become, do you know what I mean? We change with the environment, and that's survival of the fittest, really.
I hear you, but Like my thing is repatriation, innit? Like I see Somaliland, for example, as like a little African miracle, innit? Like since 1991, it's been totally stable, and like presidents give, one has an election, the other guy gives the power like to the next president, and there is no drama. And I know this doesn't sound too extraordinary, but by African standards, trust me, that's extraordinary. And this has been going on every 4 years since 91. And in the last election, the people when they went to vote, I think it was last summer, they went to vote with a biometrics card. Yeah.
Mashallah, yeah.
So in England, you go to vote with a ballot paper. In Somaliland, when you vote with a biometrics card that has your iris and your fingerprints on it. Yeah. So to me, it's a little African miracle. But the heartbreaking thing that I find is that when I was there, I spent most of my time with like British Somalis and the European Somalis, American Somalis, and we refer to the locals as landers, innit? And it's extraordinary because when I'm in England, other Somalis call me lander, innit? But when I was there, I called the locals lander, and they called us Takan Ellis, innit?
Yeah.
Which basically, I don't know what the closest word. I think rehabilitation would be probably like the closest word to English to it, but. Anyway, Takan Ellis is basically people that have lost their culture in it, like
A culture that's been returned.
yeah. So they're going back to get their culture back in it. So there was this division in it, and the ones that are from Europe are spotted like that. Like me, I would dress like the locals, but for some reason I don't know if it's body language. I don't know what it is.
It's body language. It's got the same thing.
It's the walk in
and
it.
then lack of vitamin D. You're looking a bit pale.
I'm looking a bit pale, but they can spot you like that, innit? They can spot you like that, and your biggest worry there is being booped or being ripped off by a shopkeeper or a taxi driver. Like that's the only thing you have to worry about, honestly. Like walking around 4 o'clock in the morning, it's all good. Like I was frontlining on 150th Street, like it's happy days every night. Like it's all fine. Like nobody's gonna worry about you or nothing.
Yeah, I think. Can I just say something about patriotism and basically survival of the fittest, which is that we can be patriotism is to do with identity. It's got to do with our culture and stuff like that. I think we should keep that intact. Some of the aspects, like for food, our food culture, I think that without losing our food, we're still baris. We're still eating baris. We're still eating hilib. You know what I mean? We're still eating rice and meat. But the only thing is, instead of clarified butter, we're putting olive oil or whatever we need to do in order to keep it healthy.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. But definitely 100% patriotism and
repatriation. I think, like, genuinely, honest to God, this place was not built for you. This place was built to exploit you. The only reason you are here, and this is not an exaggeration, they want you to pay the bills. Yeah.
Yeah.
After the war, this country was a poor country. In a poor country, people have a lot of babies, right? Now, the generation that was born between the 40s and the 60s, they had 5, 6 siblings, right? They became rich and they had 1 or 2 kids. Now, those people that had 5 or 6 siblings, now they're in their 60s. You understand? They need someone to still pay for the NHS. That's the only reason you are here.
No,
don't let them convince you you're here because of charity or anything like that. Moreover, they've been exploiting you for hundreds of years, isn't it? So my thing is, let's take because you understand this. I was born here, so the Queen has invested in my education. She's invested in my every time I went to the GP, every time I went to the hospital, right? And that's tens of thousands of pounds she's putting into me. Now, if I leave, I'm boopsing her, innit? So that's my thing, innit? Get what you can and go back home with it. Now, at the moment, the sick thing is, now, fuck the Queen, bro. Well, I'm not riding for it.
Could you do that?
Go ahead.
Could you go back to Somalia and live
Of course, but the problem is, the only people that do that are people that are wanted. That's the reality. The only people that go back to live in Somalia are people that are wanted, or girls that are like the mum saying, "Yo, I'm gonna disown you unless you go back." You understand?
I was there 2 weeks ago for the purpose of buying land so I can move back.
MashaAllah.
Obviously,
Listen,
you know
I bought my lump.
it's a human disease that bad news travels faster than good news. Yeah, mostly what we hear is the people that go back are people who are on deportation order, that have been deported back, or who have had their parents take them back for their own good because they have gone down a bad road.
My thing is,
but there are a lot of Somalis that do go back for business, that go back.
I saw a lot of that.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And I think it's in between the older generation and the younger generation. There is a key to the people in their 30s and the 40s of the Somali people who are not considered the older generation and are not the youngers, who are old enough and mature enough to see what is going on, who've been in this country long enough to see the effects that this is not built for us, this country is not built for us, and we are sort of drowning in all of the system. Do you understand? But then again, how are our people, our generation, gonna do that? we have to link the older generation and the younger generation for some reason. And the only way we're going to do that is if we, like you said, keep going back, make businesses, make something back home in order to show the young people, you know what I mean, that this is what you can do.
100%.
You know what I mean? So, and investment, what about the investment? I've heard a lot of people find it hard to go invest back home because you have to rely on people that are back home as well. There's a sort of a fear there from our people, say the English Somalians or the, what do you call it, diaspora, going back and doing things like opening up businesses and stuff, because a lot of them have got booped. A lot of them have got, basically swindled. Do you know what I mean? So that in itself as well. Maybe we should make a diaspora young, diaspora organisation that is directly linked to the government, rather than us going to random people in Somalia, which is through relatives and stuff like that. What do you think about that?
So I wouldn't get the government involved.
Why not?
Because fuck the Queen, bro. And that's the Queen's
No,
government.
I'm not saying the government here, I'm talking about the
Somalian.
government Somalia. Like, for example, if I want to do anything in Somalia, I have to go through Hebel. I have to go through my cousin or my uncle or blah, blah, blah.
Well, it
which
depends
there
where.
is a chance that everything is not legit.
Yeah, but it depends where in Somalia.
Legitimacy.
So it depends where you are in Somalia. And obviously,
The north.
Yeah, but Puntland is not the same as Somaliland. Djibouti is not the same as Somaliland. So it depends in it where you are in it.
But all of them have got a government that deals with land, that
You know
deals
what?
with
Talking about
business, that deals with education.
Talking about land,
Yeah.
When I went there, there was a lot of the land is
you mind
owned
being
by
on camera?
one man. No.
You don't move the camera.
No, I'm good.
Timmy.
Yeah, there's a lot of old men, that own most of the land. They claimed it.
Yeah.
And the government has signed that for them.
Yeah.
So if you want to buy land, you have to buy it through them,
Okay.
or a dealer, like a
Okay.
broker, what they call dilal. So you have to go to
Like
them.
a state agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you go to him, and then he makes the connection. He makes his little cut, and then you buy the land. And it's all kind of word of mouth, so it's trust. So you bring someone that's responsible, that owns the business already, and then they sign it off. That's how it works. But that is very difficult.
See, I think that is where the segregation has happened from the younger generation and the older generation. The older generation seem to be able to flow back home, buy land, do all of that. When it comes to the younger generation, I think we invest our monies in other things. Do you know what I mean? And the reason we don't even aspire to do that is because it's out of our understanding of all of this trust, all of this hebel, uncles, fathers, sisters
But
is
you know
going to
what?
deal
Even
with this
saying
and that.
A lot of the youth, even myself a few years ago, I didn't even consider going back. Yeah, because we got used to this country. We got too used to this country, and so we're comfortable. So it's about reconnecting to your culture.
I think,
And that's
yeah.
the biggest thing.
I
And then
think
going back
comfort-
and experiencing.
I think comfort comes
experience.
from knowing, and what you don't know is obviously scary. So for me, I would like to go back home, for example, buy land. Yeah, I know I can do that because my mom's back there, for example, so it's easy for me. But let's say some of my other friends that want to do that, it's very hard for them. Like my friend the other time, her father passed away, and when her father passed away, it was 3 of them, her and her 2 brothers, and they were all under 35. So they had nobody really there that they could trust. And aunties and uncles have their own stake in, when funerals and heritage. So it was very hard for her and her brothers to get what was rightfully theirs. Do you understand? The fact that if she even said, your mum's back there, could you help me? Is there anyone back there? So I think that if we're really serious as the diaspora, we need to make our own forum so that people, like for example, if you've done it before and you can open up something that we could go through you. So you've had already like a relationship with these elders people that are doing it through trust. So we can do it more like, instead of you doing it through trust, you could open up something more transparent, like say, look, the government, we have got all of these diaspora people that want to buy land and want to do something and want to invest in the businesses, but the reason why they're not investing is because it's on a cultural trust system which we are not comfortable and we are not that is not known to us. Like for example, if you say to this young British guy, you're gonna give me 10,000, I will buy you the land, wait for me 3 months, I'll give you the paperwork, they're not gonna trust. They're like, forget that, I'd rather take my 3,000 and go to Spain. Do you know what I mean? And enjoy my time now. So we need, if we're going to be serious, it's the same thing with the mental health. We are going to have to actually list down main things that are hurting our society or that could benefit our society, and we need to be able to make our own diaspora structures that can deal with our people back home that are the Somalian people that were there. Because remember, like you said, we're looked at differently. You know what I mean? Almost they expect that we're dismissed when we talk. Do you know what I mean? Because they're like, who are you? You've been in England all of that time. You want to come and tell us blah, blah, blah. Shh, bring your uncle, bring someone we know, basically. And what we need to do is we need to make the ones of us who they know, for example, I'm just using you as an example because you bought land. You can say, look, furthermore, there are
I didn't buy land, I went there to buy land.
You went there to
I was scouting.
You were scouting, so you haven't even finished the process. So we need someone that has finished the process to say that this is A, B, C. Like, you know, when the tourist websites go, when you go to this country, this is the kind of dangers, don't go to that area, this is the problems you're going to face. We need to do things like that for business, land, which is things that will benefit us, mental health, and crime, which are things that are going to destroy us. We need to make systems, because even our younger youths, they are not like the older generation, right? The older generation had criminals, let's just say, yeah? They have grown out of it. What we need to do is we need to bring the older generation and speak to our younger generation and show them that certain things, like, for example, because the older gen, I'm not condoning any of their behaviors as correct, but there were certain things that they didn't do, like stab each other and kill each other. Do you know what I mean? Now the younger generation are coming to an extent where they're killing each other and stuff like that. So I think there is a lack of peer system, you understand? And the peer system is not only just any peer system. You can't have someone who's a peer system just here. You need someone that has gone the whole road, has gone to Somalia, seen it, been there, done that, and then we all learn from them, because that's all it. I think really we need to start making our own diaspora like collection. Well, like even this starting here today, like Abu Talib was saying that we should subscribe. You understand? There's so many people that want to support the Somali corner and everything, but we still don't know where to support them. So if you make a proper Somali, say if Abu Talib was saying on the first one that, subscribe to Maya and we're going to collect some money and raise some money to make our first initiative, but really and truly we need to say that, and every time subscribe here. We need to make a focus somewhere where we can come together.
Yeah, we're working on it.
We're working on it. I'm just adding to it. I might be pushing it a little bit.
Huh?
The belly funds.
The belly funds, yeah, the belly funds. And not only that, ideas, because there's so many people that are out there that might have things set up, that want to help, but they don't know how to offer. Do you know what I mean? So definitely we need to make a specific focus somewhere where everyone can come. Website, YouTube channel, whatever it is. So have you got one, for example? Is there one you want to promote for us?
Yeah, Somali Corner, like, subscribe and share. We've got like 2 subscribers.
We haven't even got our own channel.
We do. We got 2 subscribers.
You got 2 subscribers.
Yeah, we got 2 subscribers.
Send me the channel.
So what is it called? Somali Corner. See, I didn't even know this.
I told
Somali Corner.
Somali Corner on YouTube. Is it on
Somali
YouTube?
Corner, innit? Huh?
On YouTube.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. We got a Twitter page as well.
You got a Twitter page.
Soon hit Instagram.
Oh, see, this is how we got to promote, because I'm sure there's so many people, I've told so many people about this. So that's one good thing. Go ahead anyway.
No, I was going to say, you're right. It's more about institutes over individuals.
Absolutely.
So if you can resurrect institutes and have a place where we can go, hands down.
Hands down. The rest will.
Absolutely.
Because there's going to be Somali people who are watching this who actually want to get in contact, who want to contribute, but how do they do it?
Yeah.
So you're on your right path.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So Somali Corner YouTube channel.
Yeah. We don't have any content right now, but soon come.
Well, can't we borrow some of these videos and put it on there?
Well,
To
content.
pay for that.
Yeah, say no
yeah,
more.
to start us off. Yeah, thank you very
Man
much.
like content.
You know what I mean?
And
Big up.
to think all the Somalis are onto you content,
Why should they
I'm not
be?
blocker, man. People just assume the
Why
wrong
should
about
they?
me before they come up to me and talk to me. I'm just assuming the wrong things about
I
me.
know.
Don't say nothing.
All the men are onto
Ain't
you,
a-
bro.
ain't
They're
a me-
into you.
ain't a
Onto you
man
in what
with
way?
me, no, fam. I don't know
So
them.
Ajnabi, innit?
Okay.
Tell the girls to come on me. I don't want a man on me, fam. Yeah, but nah, true story. Send me the links, man. I told
My guy.
I told Abu Tao already, fam.
My
Send
guy,
me the
love
links
for
so I
that,
can put it
bro.
in the description, innit?
Love for that, love for that.
Nice.
Alright,
I wanted to say one more thing. I know I talk a lot, yeah, but one of the things that, like, well, know thyself. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, what I was talking about is poetry. I think our language and our poetry.
Content over every time. From your melody. Man, say it straight. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to
As well, it's something that when my son was young, he's older now, but when he was young, I always wanted to find if there was any kind of poetry club, and I found one, and it was in Tower Hamlets. And I don't know if that stuff is still about, but I think that poetry was a way of Somali people really being able to, and connecting, and our history as well. You know what I
people
mean?
don't understand that we collect our history through our poems.
Poets, yeah, and memorization.
So it's important to us.